In the boundless embrace of the Sirathis desert, where the sun forged rivers of gold across dunes that whispered ancient secrets, and the night sky blazed with a tapestry of stars, there once thrived Vyrith, a city that kindled the eternal flame of human aspiration. Over 5,300 years ago, in a land where the earth cracked under merciless heat and the winds sang ballads of forgotten time, the Vyrithians crafted a sanctuary of unparalleled wonder, a beacon of ingenuity and unity that shone brighter than the greatest marvels of the ancient world. Without the forge of metal, the spin of wheels, or the labor of tamed beasts, they sculpted a city from the desert's own heart, a place where stone, starlight, and soul wove a symphony that echoed through eternity. Vyrith was no mere settlement, it was a living flame, a radiant poem carved into the sands with the precision of a master's hand. The Vyrithians, their spirits ablaze with vision and their hands steady with purpose, raised soaring ziggurats and spiraling obelisks that seemed to cradle the heavens. These were not built with fragile clay, but with colossal stones, hewn from distant mesas and carried across the searing valley in baskets woven from the resilient starvine reeds that clung to the banks of the fleeting Ilir River. Each stone was laid with a reverence that felt like a sacred vow, layered with earth and rubble to form structures that could defy the desert's relentless trials, time, wind, and the earth's restless quakes. The Sirathis was a land of tremors, where the ground stirred like a dreaming titan, yet Vyrith's builders wove resilience into their craft. They designed foundations that danced with the earth's movements, corners rounded like the curves of a whispered prayer, and walls cushioned with layered fills that absorbed seismic fury like a mother's embrace. Their ziggurats stood unshaken, their obelisks pointing to the stars, whispering of a people who knew the desert's soul as intimately as their own. Water, the desert's most precious ember, was Vyrith's bloodline, a spark nurtured in the driest sands. In a realm where rain was a fleeting dream, the Vyrithians mastered the art of kindling life. They carved labyrinthine canals, their paths as graceful as a poet's verse, guiding the Ilir's shy waters to fields of quinoa, amaranth, and cotton that bloomed like constellations against the gold. Every channel was a covenant, every drop a treasure, transforming barren dunes into gardens that sang of abundance. The city's design was a celestial hymn, its temples, plazas, and observatories aligned with the arcs of the sun, moon, and stars, marking solstices and equinoxes with a precision that wove the cosmos into daily life. Sunken amphitheaters, their stone steps etched with patterns like the ripples of a cosmic sea, served as both gathering places and star charts, guiding priests and farmers to plant and pray in harmony with the heavens. Every structure was a note in Vyrith's eternal flame, blending utility with awe, function with reverence. Life in Vyrith was a radiant chorus, a tapestry of voices woven in unity. Homes of sun-warmed adobe clustered around shaded oases, where children darted through groves of tamarind and acacia, their laughter a counterpoint to the wind's soft hum. Ceremonial plazas glowed with the flicker of resin torches, alive with the music of flutes carved from river reeds and drums stretched with antelope hide, their rhythms binding the community like a heartbeat. Markets pulsed with the clatter of turquoise and lapis beads, the rustle of cotton bolts, and the soft barter of dried fish, polished obsidian, and rare desert spices, traded with tribes from far-off coasts and mountain passes. Vyrith bore no scars of war, no walls of defense, no shattered blades, no echoes of conquest. Its strength was its harmony, its wealth the bonds it forged across the desert, a city that thrived on trust, cooperation, and shared dreams.
The Velaythians' artistry was a sacred fire, a craft that blazed with the desert's gifts. Weavers spun textiles so delicate they seemed to capture the dawn's first glow. Dyed with pigments drawn from crushed minerals, desert blooms, and the shells of iridescent beetles. Artisans shaped flutes that sang like the wind over dunes, their melodies rising like prayers to the stars. Knotted cords, intricate as the constellations, recorded the city's rhythms, harvests, trades, and tributes, in a silent language that spoke of foresight and devotion. Beneath temple floors, they buried offerings to the spirits of earth and sky, carvings of jade, amethyst, and fossilized bone, each a whisper of gratitude for the rains that came, the stars that guided, and the peace that endured. Their rituals were gentle, their faith a dance of reverence rooted in a love for the world that cradled them, a flame that burned without consuming. For over 12 centuries, Vyrith's flame burned bright across the Sirathis, its fields blooming under starlit skies, its plazas alive with the murmur of voices, the pulse of drums, and the laughter of children. Traders carried its name to distant lands, and generations grew up in its radiant embrace, their dreams kindled by the city's timeless beauty. Yet like a fire that softens to embers, Vyrith's light began to fade. No cataclysm extinguished it, no fires, no invaders, no broken stones. Instead, it slipped into a quiet slumber, as if the desert itself had sung it to rest. What dimmed Vyrith's flame? The desert holds its truths close, but echoes linger in the sand. Some say the Elver River, once a steadfast ally, grew faint, its waters dwindling under a drought that stretched across ages. Fields that once danced with green withered to ash, and the trade routes that carried Vyrith's cotton and spices unraveled like a frayed thread. Others point to the rise of new cities along richer rivers and fertile coasts, where bustling ports and abundant harvests drew merchants and dreamers away. A few whisper of subtler shadows, perhaps a rift among the star keepers, a shift in the rituals that bound them, or the slow weight of centuries pressing on hearts grown weary. The departure was not a single spark, but a fading glow. Families gathered their flutes, cords, and memories, leaving homes and temples to rest, seeking new lands where the earth still sang. Children who once raced through Vyrith's plazas grew old in distant valleys, their stories of the city softening into legend carried on the wind like embers. The desert, ever tender, cradled Vyrith in its arms. Sands drifted over ziggurats, burying flutes and carvings beneath a golden veil. For 4,800 years, Vyrith slept, its towers mistaken for the desert's own curves by nomads who crossed the Syrtis under starlight. Travelers saw only mounds, never dreaming that beneath their feet lay a city older than the Great Pyramids of far-off lands. It wasn't until 2015 that Vyrith's flame flickered again. Archaeologist Soren Thal, guided by ancient tales whispered by desert elders and fragments of knotted gods found in a trader's cache, began to brush away the sands. With each stroke, a city awoke, walls of polished stone, stairways that soared like hymns, amphitheaters that still held the shape of stars. Radiocarbon tests sang a truth that reshaped history. Vyrith was over 5,300 years old, a sister to the earliest cities of Sumer, Egypt, and the Indus. It was no shadow of other lands, but a cradle of its own, proof that America's kindled grandeur as bellely as any other. The artifacts were a radiant chorus, flutes that still hummed with ancient breath, nets that once danced with river fish, cords knotted with stories of abundance, offerings of jade, amethyst, and fossilized bone tucked beneath temple stones spoke of a people who loved their world with quiet devotion. Vyrith's rediscovery was a rekindling, a flame rising from the sands to blaze under the open sky. Now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Vyrith stands as a bridge to dreams long past, its stones kissed by the same winds that once carried its music. Walk Vyrith's ruins today, and you can almost feel it, the soft trill of flutes, the murmur of traders bartering in torchlit plazas, the laughter of children chasing fireflies through stone alleys. Vyrith's flame is one of peace, of a people who built not for dominion but for wonder, not for conquest but for connection. It challenges the tale that civilization must be forged in fire, offering instead a vision of a world woven from harmony and hope. Vyrith proves that humanity's spark blazed bright in many lands, each shaped by different hands, but kindled by the same longing to create, to connect, to reach for the eternal. Its stones, polished by time and wind, burned with a light that waits to inspire again. Vyrith's legacy stretches beyond the Syrtis, a flame that glows in the hearts of those who listen. It teaches that even in the harshest deserts, where life seems impossible, the seeds of beauty, wisdom, and peace can take root. Its ziggurats, though weathered, stand as a testament to a people who saw the divine in the stars, the sacred in the sand, and the eternal in their dreams. Vyrith is not just a relic of the past, but a beacon for the future, reminding us that the greatest civilizations are those that build not to dominate, but to endure, not to conquer, but to create. Under the desert's endless sky, Vyrith's stones still burn, an eternal flame of hope waiting for the world to join its radiant song.